Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our year-end question and answer session. I am Subhashni. I'm a product marketer for Zoho Sign, and I'm joined today by several other colleagues from the Zoho Sign team on this webinar panel. I have with me Sayanan, an other product marketer who will also be presenting later in the session. And the following team members: Subramanian, our product manager; Sankari, Vagiswaran, and Nagarajan, our senior product engineers; Tarun and Puvili, also product engineers; Padma Priya from product marketing; and Rajkiran and Saravana from customer success. So before we get started, I would like to discuss the agenda of today's session. I'll be taking the first 15 minutes of the session to give a basic introduction to electronic signatures, followed by a brief walkthrough of Zoho Sign and its features for all the new users who have joined today's session. Then I'll be handing the session over to Sayanand, who will be giving a brief overview of the features and updates we released this year and what's coming for 2023. Following that, we will wind up the webinar with a question and answer session. Today's webinar is being recorded and we will be mailing you the recording in a few days' time. We will also be posting the recording on our YouTube channel for your viewing. So the first thing I would like to ask you is, do you still use the conventional pen and paper approach to do your paperwork? Physical paperwork involves drafting and printing documents, signing them physically, mailing them to recipients, collecting signatures, managing them, and a lot of other tedious manual work, which results in a long drawn out, cumbersome process that lowers productivity. If so, aren't you already tired of it and looking for an alternative that would save you from this drawn out process? The solution to this is adopting electronic signatures to automate and digitize your agreement process. Many businesses around the world are actively switching to electronic signatures as they are faster, cost effective, extremely convenient with how they simplify the process from the beginning to end. Replacing physical paperwork with digital agreement process is also eco-friendly and positively impacts our environment by reducing the paper consumption. So, what are electronic signatures? Electronic signatures, also often referred to as digital signatures, are a modern alternative to traditional handwritten signatures. Digital signatures are reliable, provide enhanced security, and can't be tampered easily like handwritten signatures. They use digital signature certificates that have the identity of signers linked to them, making it more secure. Digital signatures let signers attach a digital fingerprint, which acts as a seal to the document. And when the signed document is forged or tampered, the document turns invalid. Digital signatures are also legally binding and have the same legal status as handwritten signatures in most countries. Now, you may wonder how you can use digital signatures. This is where digital signature software such as Zoho Sign comes into play. Zoho Sign helps you securely sign, send documents for signing, and manage documents using a secure cloud based digital signing process. Zoho Sign has helped businesses around the world save millions of dollars in administrative expenses by digitizing the documentation process. Zoho Sign also offers a lot of advanced features such as templates, sign forms, bulk send, and in-person signing that makes your work less tedious. Zoho Sign is built on top of its own REST APIs, using which you can integrate Zoho Sign with various other applications based on your necessity. You can also use these APIs, webhooks, and SDKs to build custom integrations. Zoho Sign is used by signatories across various domains such as sales, human resources, finance, IT operations, legal, marketing, support, product management, entertainment and media industry, real estate, NGOs, and so on. Zoho Sign is compliant with data privacy and security regulations such as GDPR, CCPA, and HIPAA. It offers multi-factor authentication, access reports, tamper-proof audit trails, and digital certificates that ensure data integrity. Zoho Sign lets you authenticate signers by sending an OTP through email or SMS, or by asking them to attach supporting documents which aid in validating the signer's identity. Adding to that, Zoho Sign offers blockchain based timestamping and trusted document timestamping. This serves as a proof of the document's existence and keeps track of modifications and forgery. Furthermore, Zoho Sign integrates with various regional digital signature providers such as QES in the European Union, Aadhaar and eMudra in India, and Singpass in Singapore. Zoho Sign complies with most regional and international e-sign laws, such as PIPEDA in Canada, the eSign Act and UETA in the US, EIDAS in the European Union, Information Technology Act of 2000 in India, and Electronic Transaction Act in Australia and other Southeast Asian countries. Zoho Sign has multiple secure data centers located in various cities across the world, which enable storing and processing data locally and subject to regional privacy laws. The Zoho Sign app is available across all popular platforms. It is accessible on any device through the web browser or as native applications for Android, iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and Windows. Also, your Zoho Sign account is synchronized across all the devices you have logged in, and therefore you can switch between devices and platforms seamlessly. Zoho Sign is one of the most tightly integrated apps in the Zoho ecosystem. It integrates with over 15 different widely used Zoho apps and various popular third party ecosystems and applications such as Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, Zapier, HubSpot, Dropbox, Box, and so on. Now let's move on to the next part of the webinar, a quick demo on how to send, sign, and manage documents in Zoho Sign. First, let's start with how we can sign up for login to Zoho Sign. If you're an existing Zoho user, click the sign in button and log in using your Zoho credentials. Or else click try it free for 14 days or sign up now on our website's homepage. This is what the sign in and sign up processes look like. To create a new Zoho Sign account, you will be required to enter your email ID and create a password. You can sign up using your Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft account. After signing up, you will be asked to either create a new Zoho Sign organization or join an existing one. If you're part of an organization that already has a Zoho Sign account, you can contact your organization's administrator and ask them to invite you, or else you can create a separate Zoho Sign organization for yourself and your business. After logging in, you will be directed to Zoho Sign's dashboard where you can find the send for signatures and sign yourself buttons. And on the left part of the dashboard, you can find the navigation panel, which lists various tabs like sign, documents, templates, sign forms, reports, and settings. And on the right part of the dashboard, you will find the activity feed, which helps you keep track of your work. Now let's see how you can set up your profile in Zoho Sign. Go to setting in the left navigation panel and select profile under general. On the profile page, add your signature, stamp, name, company name, job title, preferred date format, time zone, and click update to save the data you have added. Now that you have set up your Zoho Sign profile, let's explore how the sign yourself feature works. Let's assume you have a document saved on your device which was sent to you by a colleague who wants you to sign it and send it back to them as soon as possible. In situations like this, you can upload the received document to Zoho Sign, add your signature to it, and send it back to your colleague using the Sign Yourself feature. Here's how you can do that. Go to Zoho Sign's dashboard and click the Sign Yourself button. This will take you to the Sign Yourself page where you will be asked to upload your document. You can either upload files from your internal storage or import them from cloud. Zoho Sign supports all popular image, text, and document file formats such as PDF, JPEG, PNG, doc, HTML, text, and more. The maximum size limit for individual files is 25 MB and for combined files it's 40 MB. And you're allowed to upload up to 40 files at the same time. After uploading the document, you will be directed to the document viewer page. Here you can add your signature and other necessary fields, by dragging and dropping them from the Fields menu. You can also format the fields by clicking on them. After signing, click on the Sign via drop-down button and choose your preferred digital signature provider to complete the signing process. The document is sent to your registered email address by default, but you're also provided with an option to add other recipients to whom you wish to send a copy of your signed document. To do so, enter the recipient's email address and click Send and Close. Now, imagine a situation where you need to send a document to your colleagues and want to get it signed from them. This process would involve you drafting the document, printing and mailing it to your colleagues, and following up with them. But with the Send for Signatures feature, you can digitize this whole process and get it done from right where you are. Let's see how we can do that. Click on the Send for Signature button available on the dashboard. This will take you to the Send for Signatures page. Upload the document you want to send out for signatures and add a name to it. The next thing you need to do after uploading the document is adding recipient details. Scroll down the screen to find the Add Recipient section. Here you can add recipients to whom you want to send your document, set signing order, recipient role, language, and document delivery mode for the recipients. If you want to send your document in separate copies to a large number of people at the same time, you can use the Add Bulk Recipient option, through which you can send your document to up to 300 recipients at once. You can also set authentication modes and send a personalized note to each of your recipients. Now scroll down further to find the More Settings section, where you can find options to add description, categorize documents based on their types, set deadline, agreement validity period, automatic reminders, and an option to add a common note to all your recipients. After you have added the recipient details and configured the custom settings, you will be taken to the document viewer page, where you can add sign up fields to your document. Click the Send button once you're done. Then click Confirm on the Confirm Details pop-up window to send your document to recipients you added in the previous page. Zoho Sign lets non-Zoho Sign users sign the documents they receive without needing them to create a Zoho or Zoho Sign account. Whenever a non-Zoho Sign user is sent a document to sign, they will receive a signature request through email or SMS with a secure link which they can access and sign the document right away. Let's learn how that can be done. First, the signer has to click on the signing link in the signature request email or SMS they have received. Then they must verify the details on screen and click the Proceed to Document button to view the document. Then they should click Agree and Continue or an electronic record and signature disclosure, which they will be able to find on the top of the document viewer page. Either of these will open the Terms and Conditions pop-up window. Here, they must go through the terms and conditions and click Agree and Continue to proceed further. Next, they are required to add their signature. Zoho Sign lets users add their signatures in three different ways: by typing, drawing, or by uploading an image of your signature. After adding the signature and clicking OK, the signer will be taken to the document viewer page, where they should fill in all the required signer field information and click Finish to complete the signing process. They will also be able to download a copy of the signed document or mail it to themselves. Now that we have learned how to send and sign documents in Zoho Sign, let's see how we can manage and keep track of them. Go to Zoho Sign's dashboard and select Documents in the left navigation panel. Here, you will find several sub-menus such as All, In Progress, Completed, Declined, Expired, Draft, Bulk Sent, Received, and Need Your Signature. Select the category under which the document you want to manage falls, or select In Progress if you want to track a document. Open the Action menu by clicking the More Actions icon to manage the document and select the action you want to perform. Otherwise, you can click on the document you want to open and get a detailed view of it. Here, you can track the status of your document and perform several actions like recall, send reminder, extend the deadline, edit the document, and so on. With this, we have come to the end of the first part of today's webinar, and now I'll pass the session on to my co-presenter Sai Anand, who will take it from here. Over to you, Sai.
Hey, thank you, Subhashni, for that wonderful and patient introduction. With that, I hope anybody that's new to Zoho Sign has gotten a good idea of what the product has in store for you. With that, we'll move on to discussing the updates that we've put out in the product over the course of this year. Let me quickly start sharing my screen and proceed with the deck as well. All right, I hope my screen is visible now. First up, this is just going to give you a very quick run through of all these updates that I'm sharing. If you want to read about them in detail, check out videos on how to implement them and how to make use of them. I have linked each of these updates to the respective help document or announcement post. You can click on that link once we share the deck with you at a later point to go to these actual posts and read about them in detail at a later point. So let's get quickly started with the various additions that we made. The first set of additions that we're going to be taking a look at is different trust services that we've integrated with across regions in the world to help different countries be compliant with their local e-signature laws. The first in line for that is India. So in India, we integrated with Aadhaar, which is the national identity offered by the Indian government, whereby we allow businesses to integrate with the Aadhaar repository and allow any signers that they have, be it their business partners, clients, or B2C companies sending documents out to their consumers or their customers, whomever be it the case, they can sign these documents digitally by just authenticating themselves with their Aadhaar, and thus this makes it legally valid in India. And the documents are digitally signed along with an embedded timestamp that preserves the validity of the signatures, and it's legally recognized under the Information Technology Act of 2000. Now, similarly, for the European Union, we've released a slew of integrations over the past year and a half or so. The first thing that we released this year was the ability to offer qualified electronic signatures, which are the standard or the specification of electronic signatures specified under the eIDAS regulation in the EU, which is considered legally equivalent to documents signed with pen and paper. So what we've gone ahead and done is integrated with an aggregator named EIDEC that allows residents in the European Union to digitally sign documents based on a European ID that they hold. So right now we've supported EID methods in countries like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Portugal, France, and Romania. And we've also supported the generic qualified electronic signatures, wherein they have to register and procure this certificate from some qualified trust service providers by extension, such as Eurotrust and DTrust. Another similar update for the EU is that we also offer direct qualified electronic signatures to organizations looking to register for certificates that are meant for long term use and multiple use for their users through a qualified trust service provider named InfoCert. And with this integration, the users can be designated to sign documents with this qualified electronic signature, which they can obtain by undergoing the extensive face-to-face verification process when they register with InfoCert, and then proceed to add that credential to Zoho Sign and make use of their certificate to sign. This, as I said, is something that is only available for users in an existing Zoho Sign organization. So B2C companies and organizations intending to send documents to those outside their Zoho Sign system cannot make use of this to get the documents signed. Next up, we've integrated with SingPass. SingPass is the national digital identity offered to residents in Singapore and also businesses operating in and out of Singapore and also with Singapore. So they have an inherent signing functionality named Sign with SingPass, with which now we've integrated Zoho Sign, allowing for businesses to make use of this functionality to get documents signed by both other business associates and also end users and consumers with their respective national identity. And this is once again legally binding and is recognized under the Electronic Transaction Act of 2010 in Singapore. And all of these methods, be it Aadhaar in India or the qualified electronic signatures in the EU or SyncPass in Singapore, they all carry an embedded timestamp from a trusted timestamping authority that preserves the validity of these signatures into well into the future to prevent them from expiring. And therefore, you'll be able to prove in court that the documents did exist at the time of signing and they were in fact authentic and their integrity has been preserved through time. Now, this is something that we have in beta. This is advanced electronic signatures for South Africa. We have integrated with a trust service provider named Trust Factory in South Africa, from whom we are enabling businesses to obtain advanced electronic signature certificates or Adobe approved trust list certificates, which makes the documents that you sign with these respective certificates legally valid as per the South African Electronic Communications and Transactions Act. This is very similar to the InfoCert integration, wherein you can only enable it for users within your organization and have them register on the Trust Factory website and obtain the certificate for a longer duration, and it can be used repeatedly to sign multiple documents in one go and so on. Another thing that we have in beta right now is the ability to sign documents with PFX file-based digital signatures. Now, oftentimes, people do not just make use of a cloud-based solution to start signing documents. They hold a position of prominence. They're probably working with the government or in a public agency, or they might just be, top of the hierarchy at a private company or a corporate entity. So they often would have a signature issued directly in their name to them. And depending on where you are in the world, it is done in various ways. For example, in Asia and Australia, this is done by issuing USB based tokens, but in other parts of the world, it is issued in a digital form wherein they're given out in a file format called the PFX file format, which is password protected and stores your key in an encrypted manner. Uh, if you happen to have this PFX file with you for a signature that you've been issued, you can now upload that to Zoho Sign, wherein we'll encrypt it and store it in our data center and allow you to access it on demand to sign documents as you please. And we offer this in two separate models. One is you can either acquire a PFX for your organization, a common certificate that all your users would use, or individual certificates for each of your users, which they would then have to upload by themselves in their accounts and configure for use with Zoho Sign. And this enhancement to our existing USB token digital signature signing is along the same lines of what I just explained. Often people get their own digital signature certificates issued to them. And if you happen to have one in the form of a USB token or a hardware token with you, we've already enabled you to sign this over the last year or so through our Windows application. But what we've now gone ahead and done is we've supported this through web browsers as well, but it is still limited to the Windows platform because of the limitations that we are facing in development in other platforms. But in the Windows platform, you no longer need the app to be logged into or open for you to sign the documents. You simply need to install the application, but you can open up any browser, log into your Zoho Sign account, and use it as you would normally do so using a browser and sign the documents with the application that is installed doing things in the backend by fetching the connected tokens and the digital signature certificates available in your device. Next up, for the European Union, we've introduced recipient authentication through EID. What I showed you earlier was the certificate itself being issued to the signers upon EID-based authentication, except in this case, the digital signing process happens through a different vendor of their choice, but at least the access to the document is governed by an additional step of security, wherein we have a second factor of authentication being done by asking them to produce the European ID. We've done this by integrating with Signicat, another trust service provider, a qualified trust service provider in Europe. and they currently support EID based authentication for people in Belgium, Germany, and Netherlands through the various ID solutions that are on offer in these countries. Now, this is something that I'm pretty sure is going to excite a bunch of you. We now support integrated payments within Zoho Sign, meaning you can build up documents, contracts, agreements, and so on, and integrate it with Zoho Checkout, which is our payment collection tool where you can build payment pages and so on. But this integration is not sort of done in a very clunky or a broken manner. Rather, it is done within Zoho Sign by having you add a payment field into the document as you would do for the other fields that signers would have to fill in. And upon the signer filling in all the fields of information that they would need to enter, when they try to finish signing the document, the payment field would trigger the payment action, wherein they'll be redirected to the payment page. And only when they make the payment, the document is considered duly signed and completed. So this helps you collect both payments and signatures at the same time, and helps you, make your processes way more efficient. And in scenarios where you have to collect a token advance or a token payment as you sign a work order or like a pre-contract or an agreement, this would go a long way in, making you not having to chase after your payments and get them sorted as you get the paperwork done as well. Another one of these features that is going to cause a lot of eyebrows to wake up is being able to send documents out for signatures or approval through SMS. So up until the release of this feature, we'd only supported sending documents to your recipients through email, but we've now introduced a function to be able to do this and deliver the document also through SMS as a second mode of delivery. And this helps you reach your signer in two separate channels, and that ensures that you sort of keep them alert on what they're supposed to get done or what document they need to sign. And if there's somebody that often doesn't check their email as much as you would want them to, having it sent to their phone would probably get you the response that you would need in due time. So do check this out, and this should help you out. Yeah. Now, another fairly popular, or rather maybe even incredibly popular, I would say, if you're from the US, is requesting control measures in place for complying with the Food and Drug Administration's federal regulations, often called 21 CFR Part 11. What we've done in Zoho Sign is we've enabled a beta access for the first set of controls. I would like to call it that because we want to keep improving this feature based on feedback, which allows your organization to operate Zoho Sign, not just you, but your users as well, wherein the admins define the set of controls and configure what is allowed and what isn't. And by default, we do not permit a lot of the things that CFR wants us to restrict, and this helps us help you be compliant with CFR Part 11 is what I would say. So this is something which I would say is it took us a long time to understand because it is fairly complex in what it demands. And we've done our research, and now it is up to you to make use of this and give us feedback on how we can go about improving our implementation of this. And if you're looking for a reason to switch to Zoho, we're happy to let you know that Zoho Sign is one of the first products to bring in measures for you to help comply with CFR Part 11. So if you're in the healthcare industry, if you're in the food industry, and if this is something that was stopping you from taking a look at Zoho, now you have a reason to consider it. Now, I just wanted to quickly mention for anything that we've mentioned as in beta, you can request access because these are all closed betas. We don't run open betas here at Zoho. You can just request access by writing to support at Zoho Sign and mentioning which of these beta features you need access for, and we'll have our team enable it in the backend for you to make use of. And you can always, like I said, it's beta, right? So you can use it and you can respond to us with any feedback that you have or any trouble that you're facing, and we can work together on getting you run your business better. Now, I saw that there were a few questions about Zoho Sign not having a built-in document editing functionality, and I'm sure this should address that question. So Zoho is a very large ecosystem of apps that cater to different broad business functions, right? Now, one thing we pride ourselves in is being able to have these apps integrate very naturally with one another and have data seamlessly flow between these apps and act as a unified platform. And something that we've done here is take advantage of that, and we've built an integration with Zoho Writer, which is our word processing application, wherein you can build documents out and then you can import it into Zoho Sign through Zoho Work Drive. And if you have changes to be made in this document, then you can always go ahead and click on the edit button in these workflows for you to be taken into Zoho Writer directly from Zoho Sign to this particular document, make the changes, and then come back and click on the sync button for you to sync the changes with Zoho Sign and then send out the document by building out the workflow that you need. So this, I believe, makes things a lot more efficient. I know we do not have a native editing capability as of this point, but we are building it, and it should come out soon sometime. But until then, we hope this helps you get the job done. Now, a lot of organizations tend to have people pretty high up the hierarchy uh, who spend a lot of their time every day just sitting and signing documents. And often these documents tend to be repetitive documents or identical documents with just perhaps the partner or the lead or the customer being different. Uh, and the fields of information that they've filled in are fairly identical. So all you would need is just a signature or perhaps your name, date, and signature, and so on. And for you to be able to do this over and over again can be pretty drawn out, right? So we've addressed this in Zoho Sign by introducing this bulk sign functionality, which helps you group up documents which have similar fields and are fairly identical, and test out the compatibility in being able to sign this in one go and sign the documents that have the same fields in one go. Now, any documents that are incompatible with this, you would have to give it the individual attention that it deserves. But otherwise, this should help speed things up for you to get the ball rolling on a lot of these bulk deals and so on. Now, this is another extremely popular feature that blew some of our partners away when we gave them early access to it. It is the ability to upload documents to Zoho Sign and have the app automatically place the fields for you based on an AI-based field detection algorithm. We had already introduced a version of this through Writer earlier, and Writer has its own built-in AI-based field detection technology as well. Now we've taken advantage of that and we've built it into Zoho Sign directly, wherein if you're looking to convert paper forms, which are completely physical into a set of digital documents that your signers would have to fill out, you can now go ahead and do this by simply just scanning it and uploading it, and our AI will do the rest of the job for you by being smart enough in detecting what field needs to go where, and even positioning it and shaping it to look neat and all well formatted. So do try this out and let us know how it goes. Moving on, I just want to talk about a few of our integrations that we released this year. Um, we have our own CRM. This is just a disclaimer, which is perhaps one of the apps that we integrate the best with. And if you're somebody that works actively in your sales function, you should explore Zoho CRM if you already haven't. But we acknowledge that there are people that are working with other CRM platforms and like it for their own preferences. So we've gone ahead and built integrations with some of the other popular platforms out there for the sake of helping them achieve a seamless workflow functionality wherein they can use Zoho Sign from within their CRM to send documents out, get them signed, be able to track these documents and have the signed documents available. So the first in that list is HubSpot, with whom we built an integration, and you can install the integration from the HubSpot marketplace and start sending out documents directly from their sales hub. The next in that line is vTiger CRM. vTiger CRM is a niche CRM application that has its own one view contextual offering, wherein you have contextual menus and modules that are all very I would say graphically and neurally integrated with one another. So if you are somebody that likes using this platform, we have an application integration for this as well. So you can go to the marketplace inside vTiger and install the Zoho Sign integration and get started. This does, however, require some level of technical API implementation to get started with as a one-time thing. But anybody who does this for as a day in day out job should be able to figure it out and help you get started. So yeah, we urge you to check this out if you're a vTiger user. And the next in that list is Pipedrive. Now, Pipedrive is a CRM solution that has positioned itself really well as a pipeline management application and a very lightweight CRM for small businesses just looking to get started with their services. So, business sizes might be different, the platforms might be different, but the paperwork level and the nightmares that it brings to people that have to do it every day remains the same. So, we figured why not go ahead and integrate Zoho Sign with Pipedrive as well, and we've done that. You can just install the extension from the Pipedrive marketplace and start sending documents out, set up templates, and track them from inside your Sales Hub, and get your paperwork done. Now, if you're somebody that likes playing around with integrations and but wants to do it in a more low code way, meaning you're not somebody that's willing to get your hands dirty with a lot of coding or with the APIs and so on, then you can check out all these various integration platforms that we already integrate with. Zapier is a pretty popular one, but we know that Microsoft is trying to build its own platform and has its own offering with the Power Apps ecosystem that they're building right now. And they have Power Automate, which is their integration platform, with which we've built an integration this year, wherein it allows you to set up triggers from Zoho Sign and be able to get actions done in 600 other applications that are there in their gallery. And this helps you, build workflows and trigger actions based on what happens inside your Zoho Sign account and translate data and get it flowing into other systems and ecosystems as you please. Now, getting back to Zoho Sign, this is an update that's I would say, very new because I know for a fact that this went out barely 48 hours ago. We've actually enhanced our sign workflow. I understand that Subhashni gave you a demo of how you can go about building your document workflow earlier. But if you go to Zoho Sign and see that screen, you will be surprised to see that it's become even more easier to build it out now. And you now have a customized button right next to each recipient where you can click, and you have this panel open up from the right side where you can add recipient level information, like being able to add a private note, set separate authentication, uh, set a separate email and interface language just for that recipient, being able to address them in their vernacular, and also mandate specific digital signature providers based on our integrations for these respective recipients. So, for example, if you're somebody that's operating in Singapore and you are a public facing company where you have consumers whom you want to sign, with whom you want to get documents signed with only SyncPass, and whereas your approving authority within the company can make use of the Zoho Sign certificate or something else that they have in their place. What you can do is build out a workflow wherein you can have the recipients that need to sign with SyncPass be mandated with only be able to do that, and then have the other people with more options to sign documents with and so on. This is something we had received requests for in the past, wherein being able to mandate a specific provider for a specific recipient, I guess, plays a big deal in especially regulated industries in banking, finance, and so on. So yeah, feel free to try this out. It's very fresh, and I hope this sort of changes your, changes the way you use Zoho Sign and makes it more approaching for you. Now, along with the CFR Part 11 controls, another enhancement that we've added to Zoho Sign is an option to have visible elements along with the signatures in the signed documents. Now, I know that all documents do carry the token visible signature in itself that you can see and verify. But in the case of digital signature or digitally signed documents, there are properties associated with the signature. There are attributes that you cannot really view by just looking at the document in plain text, right? These are added to the properties of the file, which unless and until you open it with an application like, say, Foxit or Adobe Acrobat, you would not be able to inspect and view. So what we've done is, for those who deal with the plain text documents, we've gone ahead and included an option to add these attributes under the signature or next to it, and it displays various metadata associated with the particular signature or the signing action. And this is also captured in the completion certificate, so that you can affix it with the document and take it to court if it comes down to that. And in some cases, I believe this is also the standard that is followed in the industry, especially in healthcare and banking. So we're addressing a gap that we had in that scenario, but it's an enhancement or a functionality that can be a good plus for you if you don't already use this, but you're using Zoho Sign. Now, coming to the whole you know uh, aspect of privacy, data protection, access levels, access control, and so on, what we've done is we've introduced the ability to audit each and every action that happens within your organization, uh, across users and across documents and across modules. Uh, this allows your administrators to actually just go access the activity log and see which user has performed what action, right from being able to send documents out and the different actions that take place within the document, which are captured in an audit trail themselves, but also changes to the configurations, changes to their profile, and so on. All of this is captured so that it makes it easier for you to establish accountability, be more transparent, and makes it easier for you to just comply with privacy regulations, access control mechanisms, and so on. This is another enhancement that we've introduced, which is to be able to export the field data that your signers enter into the documents you send them, and have that data be used elsewhere. So what we've gone ahead and done this is introduces in bulk send, where when you send out a large list of documents, multiple copies of it in bulk, typically you have some information in the document that is going to be fetched and put into some other system for you to make use of at a later point. Right now, it was only being done manually, but now we've allowed you to export this data as a CSV file, and that can be operated upon programmatically for you to take this information and put it into other systems or other places of data storage that you have, and act upon. This was introduced fairly early in 2022, the option to be able to download documents in the way that you want. The first one is, if you have multiple documents in an envelope, you can just download all of it put together in a zip file. And the next one is to be able to download the certificate of completion by itself. But what we've gone ahead and done is clubbed it all together, and we can now let you download all of it together in a zip file, or merge it into a single PDF document, so that it's easier for you and to send it out to different people who don't really have to sit and sift through the different kind of documents in the attachments. Rather, they just have one free flowing document with all the data that they need and the necessary signatures that are fixed alongside for them to verify it and produce wherever they need to produce it. If you're somebody that plays around with Zoho Sign's APIs, now when I say plays around, if you're somebody that really knows how to use it, I'm pretty sure you would be fairly reliant on webhooks as well. The way we had implemented webhooks earlier was fairly simple. All you had to do was configure a callback URL and decide which actions you would be notified for, and that was it. But there was no testing mechanism or easier setup mechanism in place. But now we've gone ahead and introduced that. So what we do right now is to send a sample payload to the URL that you configure as a test call, and then depending on the response that we get, we determine whether the payload delivery was successful or not. And we let you know, to just let you know that the configuration has been successful and the connections are working fine and the data is flowing as intended. And this helps you determine the connection and just get going with the integration that you're building with this in place. Now, similar to the organization activity log, we've introduced another log very recently. We had a lot of customers reach out to us and tell us, hey, listen, you have Zoho Sign credits, you have automation credits. It's great. We are able to make use of these to get our automations underway and so on. But we're not quite able to ascertain where these credits are being spent or who is spending them. So if you can help us out with that information, that would be great. So what we did was act on that feedback by initially introducing a credits consumption report, but that was more like a summary. It was just telling you how many credits you used and which application or integration made use of that. But what we've done now is made it even more fine grained, where you can determine how many credits were consumed at an activity level and see who performed that activity, what time it was performed, and what type of credit was consumed, and how many credits were consumed for that particular activity, and so on. So this gives you the entire credit usage history for your organization, and you can also export this as a report by generating it for a custom duration and make use of that in the ways that you want to use it. And yeah, this helps you once again establish controls in terms of understanding how you're spending your resources available for you inside Zoho Sign. Now, I did say that we have a very strong integration with Writer, and I showed you what can be done when you compose documents in Writer and import it into Zoho Sign earlier. But a lot of the Zoho users make use of this as well, which is to be able to use Zoho Sign from inside Writer. Meaning, so somebody had asked a question about PandaDoc. I believe this is more or less the same as what that offering is. It is to be able to compose documents, build out paragraphs, the content that you need, the way you need to do it, add more collaborators, collaborate on the document in real time, and then set up a workflow from directly within the document to automate it for signature collection and so on. So this is possible in Zoho Writer. It has been for quite a while, but now we've enhanced that by allowing you the option to sign documents yourself, save the document, save the signed document back to Zoho Work Drive, and also introduce the customization options at a recipient level, like being able to set the language for each recipient, add a private message, enable authentication, which otherwise would require you to go into the Zoho Sign interface to do. But you can do all of that now from just Zoho Writer. So yeah, feel free to explore this. This is perhaps one of the most tightly integrated integrations that we actually have, and I'm pretty sure it addresses any concerns of not being able to edit documents with Zoho Sign that might have been raised until this point. Now, every year, Apple decides to roll out its software updates, and it brings with it a slew of new features and hardware-based functionality for each of the device operating systems. So, and Zoho has worked in tandem with Apple to ensure most of our apps are ready for these respective releases at the time of the release itself. So we have been doing this for quite a while now. So it hasn't been any different this year as well. So for iOS 16 and iPadOS and macOS Ventura, we worked with Apple, and we managed to develop our apps to um, sort of include their new functions within our apps to serve our power users of the Apple ecosystem the way they would want to use Zoho Sign. You can now set up conversational Siri shortcuts to autofill and sign documents, decline them or assign them to someone else. You can even add the documents and frequently used templates to quick notes, so you can launch them directly from your notes rather than having to go into the Zoho Sign app and search for them. You can also customize and set the filter for notifications that you receive from Zoho Sign based on the different focus modes that you have. So you know which mode tells you what you have it in a way that you prefer it. And yeah, apart from this, we have introduced the functionality of adding widgets to your lock screens to do things, and improved our document scanning capability in mobile devices to be able to do some level of basic OCR or text recognition. I'll quickly wrap this thing up. Here are a few other enhancements and updates. We also had integrations being published by Integrately and Pably Connect this year, which are other integration platforms similar to Zapier or Microsoft Power Automate, as I was showing you earlier. This allows you to add Zoho Sign and build workflows with thousands of other applications available on these respective platforms in their marketplace and galleries. And have workflows that can be triggered by eSign actions. And another update for our developer enthusiasts is that we now support embedded signing in its full form, meaning you can integrate Zoho Sign with your in-house applications, mobile applications, and your websites and other services using either our native sign forms feature or directly through our APIs and SDKs to collect signatures on documents from directly within your interface than having to have them navigate to Zoho Sign. Now, a very common requirement for us was that a lot of signers would sign documents on their mobile devices. So the senders who had given us the feedback um, wanted us to come up with a feature that would allow them to be able to verify, have some sort of real-time verification of the signer by being able to capture their face at the time of signing or something of that sort. So what we've gone ahead and done is now that is something that is a whole different feature called knowledge-based authentication that we're building for 2023. But we've gone ahead and introduced a quick workaround for this by allowing the image fields that you place into documents to support upload through camera capture. So this allows signers to upload whatever they capture using the camera, be it the back camera or the front camera, into the documents that contain image fields. And this way you can maybe have your signer maybe attach a selfie of themselves at the time of signing and know that it is in fact them and it's not somebody else. So just small workarounds for you to make things better with Zoho Sign. Now, as much as we care about our senders, we also care about our signers. So what we've gone ahead and done is we've given our signers, the end recipients who may or may not have a Zoho account, the ability to unsubscribe from the reminders that they get in their email to sign documents. I understand that depending on the nature of businesses, it can get pretty spammy for some people who get reminders in very frequent intervals. So in such scenarios, they can choose to just unsubscribe and we're just taking this as a small anti-spam measure to ensure our senders are also using it within line of fair usage and so on. Now we have introduced support for additional languages, both across our app interface and the email communication that is being sent to recipients. These languages are Czech, Hungarian, Slovakian, and Danish. And along with this, we've also added a couple of new fonts to the application. This is for the fields of information that you add for signers. And the fonts Leto and Poppins, fairly popular. Uh, I guess depending on your preference of which font you like, you can pick one of these and have your document look, neat to the eye and fit in with the rest of your text. Now, some service-related launches and changes that I want to talk about is we've launched our service from the Japanese data centers this year. Up until last year, we served our customers in Japan from the American data center, but now their local regulations have demanded even more stringent processing of data within their borders. So we set up shop in Japan, and we offer a separate service for clients in Japan through the data centers available there. And this goes hand in hand with the trusted document timestamping functionality that we already offered to Japanese users through Seiko, which allows them to add a timestamp to digitally signed documents. Along with the launch of a new data center, we also launched the support for people to migrate to other data centers. Now, when we launched our Japanese data center, our challenge was to migrate all the Japanese customers that were being served from the US data center to our Japanese data center because regulations demanded that we do so for them to store and process data locally within their borders. But it's not often regulations that demand a migration. It could also be geopolitical developments or the past. Or perhaps something like a GDPR regulation specific to a particular country that is being passed. This landscape is always evolving, and the needs for you to migrate from one data center to another might arise at any point in time. In such scenarios, we urge you to reach out to us, write to migrations@zohoaccounts.com, and then request for the migration, and we'll be happy to provide you with the assistance that you need. And the trusted document timestamping that I was just talking about with respect to Japan from Seiko, we offer it across the globe with another vendor called Global Sign. Earlier, this was a feature that we offered only in our enterprise edition, but now we've opened it up on all paid editions as we feel like it adds a lot more value for digitally signed documents to carry a timestamp. And it helps when it comes to proving the validity of the document in court. So we feel like we shouldn't be restricting other paid users from this feature, so we've opened it up as well. We do have plans to open up other such features as well, which I'll shortly talk about. But yeah, with that, I think I'm done running through the updates that we had in 2022. Let's quickly take a look at what's coming in 2023. First up, a lot of improvements on the signing front. We are going to support signing through USB signatures on other platforms like Mac OS and Linux, both through a native app and through web browsers. And we are looking to integrate with more remote or cloud based certificate authorities and trust service providers who can provide personal certificates to people across geographies for them to sign documents with. We are also in talks with a few trust service providers to provide knowledge based authentication, which is real time, face to face, and knowledge based, as it literally says, authentication as it is required in some high level transactions. And this should be hopefully rolled out sometime soon. And we're also in talks with a vendor from Switzerland to implement qualified electronic signatures, or rather, the Switzerland's adaptation of qualified electronic signatures, since they're not part of the EU, under their ZERT-S law, for us to allow users from there to comply with this law and do business without any hassle. And as I was saying, we are planning to open up some more features across all paid editions. So the Sign for Sync Pass and the other e-sign features that we launched earlier this year remain restricted to our enterprise plan at this point, but we hope to open this up to all paid editions soon. And we hope that will drive more business and makes it easier for businesses using them. Now, similar to embedded signing, we're also going to support embedded sending of documents for signatures through APIs and SDKs. And there is a couple of other smaller changes like being able to rotate the signature field and so on that's coming very soon. In terms of administrative improvements, we are going to support more languages, but very soon we will be supporting Hebrew and Arabic with the whole writing from right to left design in place across the UI and the user interface and the communication as well. And we will be introducing some enhancements to being able to delegate documents, forward documents, and segment your data and access by introducing multiple portals where you could have the same email address be part of two separate Zoho Sign organizations and keep your data separate, keep your access separate, and operate in parallel. Uh, Something that we've had in beta for a while is the ability to run Zoho Sign through your custom domain and white label the application. This is still something, like I said, is being offered in beta as it requires extensive testing and is subject to different deployment conditions based on the business need. So if you would like to receive access to this, you can always write to us. But for the time being, we're just hoping that we can release this in the coming months. And with this, we'll also be revamping the roles inside Zoho Sign, introduce user groups, and more fine-grained access control where permissions can be set for different roles, departments, and so on. Finally, coming to integrations, both within Zoho and third-party applications, we're planning to build integrations with Salesforce, SAP, and Fresh Sales in the next year. And within Zoho, we're already integrated with Zoho Contracts and Zoho People, Zoho Recruit in the People Plus bundle. But we are not quite an entire part of these bundles, so we'd like to provide an add-on to our enterprise plan that can be purchased as an add-on component at a discounted price when you buy these bundles as well. And something that a lot of people have asked is the ability to not just trigger documents from Zoho CRM, which you can already do, and bring the documents back into Zoho CRM once they're signed, but also have the signer field data fetched and populated back into into the record fields of the respective recipients and so on. That is something we're working on, and we hope to have in place soon as well. We're also going to try and implement a bot inside Microsoft Teams. Our Microsoft Teams integration is fairly popular, and with this bot you should be able to do a lot more things and also have some element of automation and command based triggers available for you to make use of. And we're also building vertical solutions. So we know that landscapes keep changing, business focuses keep changing, and every vertical or every market, every domain has its own way of going about things. So we are trying to customize our product as much as possible while still keeping it off the shelf. So we're trying to build solutions in that regard and offer it to our customers. So yeah, with that, I think we're done with this webinar. I'm sorry for overshooting the time limit by about 5 minutes, but here are the resources to help you get started with Zoho Sign. If you have any need for these resources, we have the help documentation, we have the list of integrations with the respective pages linked as well. If you're a developer, you can access our API guide and API documentation. If you're just a Zoho enthusiast or a Zoho Sign user, you can engage with our community in our community forums, speak to other users, share ideas, share feedback, and so on. If you have questions about legality, you can refer to our legal guide. And if you need to know about the pricing, you can see it in our pricing page. If you still want to sit down with Zoho Sign for a more detailed and personal demo, you can always request a demo where one of our technical product engineers can go on a call with you and help you address your needs and give you some insight on how you can go about the implementation. So any feedback that you have about the product, any questions that you have, or about this webinar, whatever it is, you can always write to us. If you're from any part of the world except the European Union, you can write to us at support@zohosign.com. If you're from the European Union, please write to support@eu.zohosign.com. Uh, the reason for two separate email addresses being EU has GDPR, and we are trying to treat that information in a compliant manner with the GDPR and so on. And you can always follow us for regular updates. As I was saying at the start of this session, we post out all of these updates as and when we release them, with a content piece that goes with them, like a blog or a video explaining how you can get this done on our social handles. So by following us in these places, you would be up to date on how Zoho Sign can help you get things done better. So yeah, with that, I think I'll move on to the question section. I'm pretty sure it's been a buzz with a lot of questions. I could see that a lot of questions were being answered by my panelists. I answered a few questions myself. I just hope that we've been able to do a good job of answering all your questions. And yeah, we've already overshot the time limit for this webinar, but I'm happy to stay on for another 5-10 minutes and entertain any further questions, either through chat or answer them orally. So yeah, let me just quickly switch over to the questions console on my screen and check if I can answer any questions. Yeah. All right. So there's a question from Peter that reads, this insert data capability when initiating from CRM, contact entity from CRM specific fields to insert is where I'm not clear. Does it work like sending a bunch of emails to a template in CRM? All right. I'm a little confused, but let me just explain to you how the CRM extension works in brief so you understand how it works. Um, we have the sign extension for Zoho CRM, and what it does is it gives you a button to trigger a signature workflow from the supported modules. This is about 8 different modules in Zoho CRM, but we also support custom modules as well. And this button helps you open up a workflow where you can add documents uh, with respect to the respective record or anything from your device, or import a template from your CRM mail merge and inventory templates, and then send it out to that particular record being one of the recipients, but build out your workflow still by adding more recipients in a hierarchical manner. And once this workflow is said and it is sent out, and everybody finishes signing the document, the signed document is automatically sent back to Zoho CRM, and it is available in the same record at the very bottom under the Zoho Sign Documents section. So it is associated or linked back to CRM under the respective recipients. And I think that is how it works. Like I said, you can set up different templates inside Zoho CRM, make use of whichever template you need, be it email templates for the communication or merge templates for the document itself, where you fill in information from the record fields and so on. But we give you the flexibility to play around with it and set it up the way you wanted. If you don't like what you see with the native integration, you can also use workflows and custom functions to build it to the to your liking. But that is a different kind of automation that requires technical expertise and so on. But yeah, I hope I've somewhat answered your question. But in either case, I can see that you've asked for a meeting after this. So please do write to us at support at Zoho Sign with a number for us to contact you on, so we can help set up a call and take a look at what your use case is, and be more detailed and thorough in our assistance. Okay, so I can see Peter sent an email. He says, if I send a contract to Joe Smith from Zoho CRM with a signed template, will it insert Joe Smith's name, company, etc., and other CRM data and send it to his email? Yes, this is absolutely possible with Zoho Sign templates. Um, Zoho Sign templates have a separate section called pre-fill fields, where you can add fields into which you can pre-fill data from wherever you're triggering this template workflow from. So these pre-fill fields are meant to be the fields into which you pull in the CRM data of the said record. If you have this fields set up and you use the Zoho Sign extension, trigger the workflow with the send with Zoho Sign button, what it shows you at the very top of the pop-up that you see is all the different pre-fill fields and asks you to map the data from the respective record, in this case, Joe, as you say, and map the respective information with the respective fields. And once you do this, that would be merged onto the document, even if it's a Zoho Sign template, and then be sent out to the respective recipients. I understand that it's easier to do it with a mail merge template, but for different reasons, people want to use Zoho Sign templates as well. So if you can suit whichever suits your liking, yeah. All right. At this point, I feel like we've answered pretty much every question that's come our way. There have been a fair amount of questions, at least 50 different questions that have come our way, and we've answered pretty much every one of them to our. We hope we've done justice in answering your questions. But if you have any follow-ups, if you have any further doubts or queries, feel free to shoot them our way. I'll just keep the session on for another 2 more minutes, and we'll wind up once we feel like there are no further questions. All right. So we aren't really seeing any further questions. With that, I think I can wrap this session up. Thank you all so much for joining this session and taking time out of your days to learn about Zoho Sign. On behalf of the entire panel that's convened here to answer your questions and be a part of this session, this is Sai Anand taking time off for the day. Um, Keep well, stay safe, and have a great day ahead and have a happy holidays. See you all in 2023 in another webinar.